Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Daemonhunters. I hope you're all strapped in, because this episode is going to be a rough ride. We start with some extremely bad news.
Alert. Prognosticators report emergence of multiple stellar warp surges across the sector. Coordinates have been updated on the star map. Current data is insufficient to perform a proper analysis. Warp storms of this magnitude are not unprecedented, but the evolving bloom phenomenon is 77.9% likely to be a significant contributing factor.
Well, shit. Warp storms are a significant navigational hazard to the ship. However, I have enhanced Geller fields, which prevent warp storm risks. So, haha, the joke's on you. I mean, it doesn't completely negate the risks of a warp storm. It will play hell with the Augurium and prevent me from obtaining any prognosticator bonuses on planets that are covered by the warp storm, but the ship won't take any damage. Next, I've completed my Tide of Shadows research. This is another stratagem, which is a nice stratagem to have, but the reason I'm going through it is in order to get to Reflective Insight 2, which allows me to use stratagems more than once in a mission, so yeah. In order to get there though, I'm first going to have to research the Dominate stratagem, which allows me to take control of an enemy once per mission. And then, it's time for the Grandmaster's report.
Commander, though I am concerned with how rapidly I see this bloom is spreading, your demands of Titan's armory have been growing dramatically. The commander of a Grey Knight strike force must exercise self-discipline in the sacrament of battle. Have you been truly adhering to the virtues demanded of your station?
There is just no pleasing this arsehole. I either have to give up some weapons, or have 3 of my knights unavailable while they beg forgiveness for using too much stuff. I'll give up the weapons.
It is gratifying to know that even so far from Titan, the doctrines of our brotherhood are being observed. I expect to hear from you in due time, Brother Ektar.
Of course. Now that he finally acknowledges the threat, he recants his support. Thoroughly sensible.
Assent. Results require resources. Outcomes are not achieved through aspiration alone.
The plight we contend with here is matched by unspeakable horrors our brothers face elsewhere across the galaxy. The gifts the Emperor has given us are mighty, so we consider it a virtue to achieve heroic deeds with the barest of arms. Do not forget this, Commander.
Chaos does not fight with one hand tied behind its back.
Yeah, sod off, Hector. Stop apologising for that arsehole. Right, anyway, I get to improve my armoury access here. I only have 6 requisition though. Yeah, I want better guns, better weapons. Then again, I'd like better armour and better war gear as well, and I can't have it all. Yeah, armour, war gear, and melee weapons. That'll have to do. And I am now completely out of requisition points. So, yeah, I had to send some of my master-crafted weapons back to the armories on Titan, but they were ones that I wasn't actually using, so I probably didn't need them that much. Meanwhile, I can't keep dodging these Chaos Strike Cruisers forever.
Alert. Long-range sensors detect Death Guard fleet activity. Scanning.
There! Are they spreading some vile toxin from planetary orbit?
An unusual tactic. But there can be no doubt that they spread the bloom.
Analysis. Undeployed seeds could be harvested from enemy wreckage.
A full-speed ramming maneuver would be risky, but might dislodge the enemy from its attack and leave us with some seeds to recover.
The edict must be protected. I must caution you, Commander. State your orders.
On the bright side, the ship is now fully upgraded with level 3 gun batteries and void shields. So...
Opening fire!
Fire the frickin' lasers! Right. Enemy strike cruiser destroyed. 2 requisition points. -2 corruption in this sector, although the ship did take 1 point of damage to the void shields. So, hey, could have been worse. Now, proceeding to our target, and we will get the chance to deal with another Chaos Strike Cruiser along the way.
Alert! Small-scale projectiles launching from the enemy vessel.
Torpedoes?
Negative. Analysis patterns reveal satellite deployment. Vox transmissions detected.
What are they casting?
Commander, this could be the Dark Tongue. Order your crew to put on their helmets and...
Update. Multiple crew stations unresponsive.
It's a distraction. The enemy ship's maneuvering to attack.
Now, with the options available here, because I have a librarian, I can use him to quell the noise.
The Knights of the Librarius will silence them.
And it did work. We got another 2 requisition points out of it, but Librarian Foros is wounded, and the ship's Augurium has been damaged. And while having the Librarian wounded isn't fantastic, I'm slightly more concerned about the fact that with the damaged Augurium, my prognosticars are going to be offline. And I can't start repairing them until the current construction project is complete. On the bright side, the current construction project is completed right before I arrive at the mission. So the ship's meditation chamber is now fully upgraded, and all of my knights are receiving 100% bonus experience. Although most of my knights are at maximum level anyway, but it's going to be useful for training up the librarian and the chaplain even faster. Here's the problem though, it's going to require 4 servitors to repair the Augurium and get my prognosticars back, and I only have 3 servitors. Bollocks. So yeah, that's not good. Now, the glorious deed for this mission, for bonus requisition points, is to finish the mission before you take 35 damage. That should be doable. We'll probably go ahead and take that. The requisition rewards for this one are, look at that, a tier 3 warding stave for my librarian. That's my first tier 3 mastercrafted piece of equipment. Plus, I'm going to get 10 servitors, and I badly need servitors right now. I can't conduct repairs and get the Augurium and my prognosticars back without them, so with Librarian Foros wounded, we're going to give him the day off. We're taking the Chaplain in, along with Apothecary Harm, Interceptor Storm, and Paladin Thule. And I have finally realised that because Paladin Thule is in Terminator armour, he can equip a 2-handed weapon in his offhand, as well as his Storm Shield. So he's now rocking a dirty great big demon hammer instead of the power sword that he's been using previously.
Planet classification, Forge World. However, all archival data has been excised. Scans suggest a mass orbital bombardment has occurred.
Even in the broken husk of Exterminatus, our enemy has a cruel wit indeed. We must return his jest with fire and vengeance.
So, this mission, which is going to go sideways very, very early, involves locating and destroying 3 Bloomspawn. There will, of course, also be patrols, and because I don't have my prognosticars up, the corruption level on this planet is level 3 instead of level 1, and all of my stratagems are locked out, which is going to be a real pain in the arse. So, I head for the first Bloomspawn, and before too long, I'm in combat. A Blight Hauler, a Death Guard Plague Marine, actually 2 Death Guard Plague Marines, and straight away they start calling in reinforcements. So there's a warp rift opening at the back there. The Blight Hauler targets us all for a mortar barrage.
Permission to engage, Commander.
Right. Okay, so I start by moving the Chaplain up into hard cover, because these are all ranged enemies. And let's see what good I can do with his Psych Out Grenade. That's good. The Psych Out Grenade, by the way, silences anybody, so if they've got any special tricks up their sleeve, they're not going to be able to use them, as well as inflicting some damage. Now then, Paladin Thule. I don't want to... Well, actually, we'll come back to him in a moment. Where are the big guns? Yep, we can move the Apothecary up to there, and he will still have 1 action point left, which will be just enough to blast the plasma cell that Plague Marine is hiding behind. It did knock him back right next to where the Chaos Gate is opening though, so he's about to get joined by a whole bunch of reinforcements, which is probably less than good. So, in order to deal with that, we're going to move Paladin Thule right up, so he will be the one to attract everybody's attention, and he is going to defend, which will give him bonus armor and allow him to intercept the first person that walks into his defensive zone. Next, intercept the storm. So move him up to there for one action point, because he does have very good mobility since he's in power armor and not Terminator armor. And I guess hack up the Blight Hauler. Yeah, we'll do that. These things have a lot of armor, but they don't have a lot of health. Oh, and he's gotten his action point back from the teleport. Fantastic. So that's a one-shot kill, which is nice. But it's now the enemy turn. So the Bloom Spawn targets the good Paladin, which is expected. The Warp Surge has gone up to 35%. The Paladin intercepts the other Plague Marine, and that's the guy with a hazard spray. Oh, that's not good. Is he in range? He isn't in range. That is actually good. What's that final Plague Marine up to? He's taking shots at Interceptor Storm. Okay, not good, but not terrible. And now is he going to set up Overwatch? He is going to set up Overwatch. Well, Interceptor Storm can teleport out of that, so that's not too much of a problem. The reinforcements, however, they are a problem. They are a very, very big problem. And the warp meter climbs to 55%. It's going up 20% per turn. It wouldn't be going up at all if I had my prognosticars, but hey, I don't. So, what are you going to do? Things are already starting to go sideways, and I figure I'm probably going to need every scrap of willpower I've got here. So, Chaplain Storm triggers the Invocation of Focus, which gives me a 50% chance of recovering any willpower used on abilities that use willpower. Not all of them, but, you know, enough of them for it to be worthwhile. He then provokes that bunch of melee enemies who have Interceptor Storm surrounded, so they're all going to charge for the Chaplain instead of carving up the Interceptor.
What is your will?
Now then, Paladin Thule. I really do think I need to go after this Plague Marine, but I'm going to have to go through some Bloom Spawn in order to get to it. I'm pretty sure that thing does a really nasty ranged armor piercing attack anyway, so it's in my best interest to deal with it. Yeah, the Force Strike isn't going to kill it, unless I get lucky and get a crit. But that's not something I can count on, and he will be able to kill it in 2 hits anyway, so fine. First hit with the Demon Hammer strips all its armor, and the second hit kills it. Unfortunately, you don't seem to get willpower back for killing these things, which is a bit of a bummer. Now then, Intercept the Storm. He doesn't have to worry about all of those melee enemies, because they've just been taunted by the Chaplain, so instead he's going to Teleport Strike over here to deal with the Plague Bearer and the Plague Marine. He doesn't get the action point back, unfortunately, for the teleport. We're going to Force Strike and kill the Plague Bearer. The Plague Marine does get a reaction attack off, though, which is not good. What is good, though, is I get 2 willpower points back. One for the kill, and one for Chaplain Storm's Litany of Invocation. Now, I've got 1 action point left to deal with, and it's not going to be enough to deal with the Plague Marine, but I'm using the Hammerhand crit attack to disable his ranged weapon, because he is a ranged enemy. I mean, that doesn't mean he can't do melee attacks, but I'm slightly more concerned about his Storm Bolter. Now then, Apothecary Harm. What to do with Apothecary Harm? Well, all of those bad guys are going to be running straight for the Chaplain, so I think the best thing to do, since I can't actually shoot any of them from here, I don't quite have the range, is to just set up Overwatch. And since Chaplain Storm is about to receive the attention of a whole bunch of melee enemies, and he only has the 1 action point left, I think the safest thing to do with him is pop his Aegis Shield and give him all of that lovely bonus armor, as Apothecary Harm tries to intercept as many of these guys as he can. Gets to shoot one, gets a reaction strike off against another. Interceptor Storm's getting smacked around a bit, though. As is Paladin Thule. Oh, but he's resisted the affliction cast by the Bloom Spawn, so this is not terrible. Although, he's not going to resist. Wait, what did that do? Didn't appear to do anything. Happy with that. That guy is going to be a pain in the arse, though. Right, this fella doesn't have a ranged weapon anymore, so he can't shoot anybody, but he is, of course, going to heal himself, so, yeah, of course he is. And there's the Warp Surge. Ah, reinforcements. More reinforcements. good news, bad news situation. The forces of chaos have just run out of reinforcements, so that is the last warp gate that we're going to have. On the downside, we still haven't dealt with the first bloom spawn and its protectors yet, or the first wave of reinforcements that spawn through that warp gate. So intercept the storm. He's going to carve that guy up. He gets a willpower point back for it, and then he's going to Billy big steps the hell out of there, because the first thing all of that fresh wave of reinforcements are going to see will be him. And he's only in power armor. Right. So that's the rear guard taken care of for now. Apothecary Hahn. Oh, it's just a Poxwalker. This is fine. I thought it might have been something a little bit more nasty, so we're just going to blast it with an Arthesium straight to the face, or however the hell you pronounce the Apothecary's thing. We're going to shoot this guy because he's got a 50% chance to parry melee attacks. He's now out of ammo. He's going to have to reload. Or do something else. You know what? Let's start getting the kills with the chaplain. Smack this guy in the face. And there we go. That's the first wave of reinforcements dealt with. We still haven't finished dealing with the bloom spawn itself and its guardians, but the first wave of reinforcements has now been dealt with. So this is all going to be down to Paladin Thule. I really should deal with that Plague Marine first. So we're going to go for a hammer hand strike, which should allow me to... I mean, I can warp charge it. It isn't going to kill him. So is there any point in warp charging it and using the willpower? Not really. I can... Ooh, actually, it's stun him. Oh, this is good, actually. This is very good. Because now I get to execute him. And give everybody another action point. Nice. Right, so that's now everything other than the actual bloom spawn itself. So, and these things do have a lot of power. But then again, so does Paladin Thule. So he's going to get hit it twice. Once more than I thought I was going to get to hit it, thanks to the execute. What am I going to do with everybody else's spare action point? The chaplain just isn't quite in range to shoot the bloom spawn, which is a bit of a bummer. But there are going to be bad guys coming from that direction, so we'll set up Overwatch. Unfortunately, I cannot do the same with the Apothecary because he needs to reload, but I can get over there and heal up Intercept the Storm because he does kind of need it.
Gratitude.
And it's nice to have somebody in Terminator armor with, you know, bonus armor being the first thing that the reinforcements are going to see, instead of Intercept the Storm and his power armor. We're going to move him up here where he should be nice and safe. And now, enemy turn. The bloom spawn targets... Oh, that is not good at all. It targeted the chaplain and he is now plagued. He did not resist the affliction. Here come the reinforcements and oh my god. A plague priest. And a whole bunch of cultists. That's not good. Bloom spawn rises to 50%. Okay, Paladin Thule's just going to have to continue smacking down this bloom spawn, I suppose. He's doing 5 damage per hit with this demon hammer, but he has 20 health, so he's not going to kill it this turn unless he gets really lucky and scores a kill. And he doesn't get really lucky. Right, the chaplain got hit with that bloom spawn attack, and he's now suffering from the plague affliction, which I believe is going to do... Yep, 2 damage per turn. Okay. Apothecary Hahn. Where is... There we go. That's the one. Endurance Biomancy. Target a knight at any range to gain plus 25 resistance, but more importantly, 100% purify. So this will remove the plague. Alrighty. Now I'm going to have to come up with a plan to deal with all of them. Yeah, I think... Just setting up... Oh, he's going to have to reload. Okay, well, we'll do that. Please say he has another action point left. He doesn't. So much for setting up Overwatch on the doorway. Intercept the Storm can move to there. And he can set up Overwatch on the doorway. And he actually has a really good Storm Bolter. So we'll do that. Now then, the chaplain. We're going to move him over here, where he's in half cover. And I think we will also set up Overwatch with him. It seems like the logical thing to do, because there's going to be a huge bunch of enemy. Oh shit, is that a patrol? There's a patrol right in the... Oh no. Oh no.
Just wait.
Oh, that is really bad. There's a patrol right in the middle of that group of reinforcements, which we haven't seen yet. Paladin Thule still hasn't killed that bloom spawn, and now it's doing a willpower drain attack, which is not good. Right. Paladin Thule, please kill that bloom spawn. Finally, that's one of the 3 bloom spawn on this mission taken care of. Now the problem is getting Paladin Thule into a position where he can actually do something useful without triggering that patrol. That would be a bad spot. This would be a very good spot. He's in hard cover, and he's back with the rest of the boys. Unfortunately, on the way, he triggers the patrol. It's a really nasty patrol. There's one plague ridden, one plague priest, and a couple of plague bearers. So, shit. Yeah. Oh no, what am I going to do here? Well, the good news is that the seed carrier over there, the Plague Marine, is right next to a fuel cell. So he's just out of range of Apothecary Hahn's extractor skull though. But if I move the Apothecary down to there, he's still going to be in hard cover. And he should now be in range of the extractor skull, and he is, so we'll go ahead and grab that. It's a yellow seed. I don't have many of those, that's going to be useful. He should also now be in shooting range of that fuel cell. And the explosion should knock the Marine further back, which hopefully might mean that he's not going to be in shooting range of anybody. And it did. Now, whether or not he's actually going to be in shooting range of anybody, I guess we'll have to find out. But while I would love to shoot the plasma cell that he's landed right next to, nobody has the range, and I'm not moving anybody out of cover in order to do it. Remember, for the glorious deed, unless I want to fail it and be penalised requisition points, I have to finish this mission without taking 35 damage. And I only have 25 damage left. So we're just going to set up Overwatch and let them come to us.
Securing position.
Right. Now, because they're all out of line of sight, I can't see what they're doing. But that Plague Priest and the Plague Ridden are doing something nasty, and I'm pretty sure it involves buffing all of the enemies around them. Who's this? A Plague Bearer. Is this guy in shooting range? He's going to have to move. He is in shooting range, but Apothecary Hahn is in hard cover, takes no damage. Here comes a Plague Bearer, stops just short of the Overwatch, because of course it does. And what's it doing? It's giving itself a buff. Its melee attacks are now draining willpower. I don't know what that is. It's probably the Plague Ridden or the Plague Bearer. More buffs for everybody. Finally, the Overwatch goes off. Doesn't kill the cultist. This guy is setting Overwatch. I'm not sure how effective that's going to be. And... Grenadier has pinned the Paladin and the Chaplain. So they now have one less movement. Right, my turn. How am I going to get out of this? I need to deal with that Overwatch so the Chaplain's free to act. And there are 2 ways that I could have done this, and I chose the wasteful and inefficient way. The Teleport Strike, to deal with one enemy. And I could have just used Teleport, which would have only cost 1 willpower instead of 3. But hey, I guess at some point I will learn. On the bright side, I did get the action point back, and the cultist with the Overwatch has been killed. On the bright side, and I'd like to claim that this was my plan all along, using the Teleport Strike ends up being good. Because I come around the corner and, oh my god, I need to get the hell out of here. If I had teleported over there to deal with the cultist doing Overwatch, I wouldn't be able to use the teleport again. But because I used the Teleport Strike, I come around the corner, see that lot, and think, yeah, screw this. And I can teleport him out of there. So we're going to teleport him over here, I think, so that he can deal with that flanking cultist on his next turn. And maybe the flanking cultist will try something stupid and he'll get a reaction strike off on him for free. Now then. Apothecary Hahn. I didn't think he was covered by Overwatch there, but he apparently is. It looks like he's clear, but nope. He is actually covered by Overwatch. He does, however, have 4 bonus armor. And it's a Marine with a bolt gun, which is probably... And he's in hard cover as well, so he should probably be able to take this. Yeah, he's going to take 3 armor damage. Okay, we're going to shoot this guy. It will trigger the Overwatch, but he can take it. There it is. The Overwatch has now been removed. Although, these guys are all now doing willpower drains with their attacks, so that's really, really bad. He is at least going to get to kill this Marine. Although he's now out of action points, and that has emptied his Stormbolter, so he needs to reload, which he's not going to get to do until the next turn. Now then, Paladin Thule. Actually, what can we do? Oh yeah, 50% chance to cancel melee attacks. That is a Plague Bearer, so we want to shoot it, and I can't actually shoot it from there because it's around the other side of the wall. I could... Yeah, I can kill this guy though. Which means he's not going to get to attack Intercept the Storm, and the good Chaplain is now in good cover. And in the enemy turn, I want as many of these guys as possible to be going for Paladin Thule, because he's got the armour and health to take it. Although he can't afford to take too much health damage, because I can only afford to take another 25 in total, or I will fail the glorious deed. The Plague Ridden is now giving everybody bonus armour, health and damage. The Plague Bearer is probably going to get to do, yep, 2 melee attacks against Apothecary Hahn. Okay. I mean, this is going according to plan, somewhat, I suppose. They are going for Paladin Thule, but their attacks are all draining willpower, which is definitely not good. Bear in mind, I've still got another 2 bloom spawns to find and kill once I finally deal with this crock of shit. I don't know what the Plague Priest is doing over there, but it's definitely nothing good. Oh, and we are of course also going to get a Warp Surge. And the Grenadier drops a Time Bomb on top of the Storm Brothers. What's this guy up to? Overwatch? Or is he just going to shoot? He's just going to shoot. Okay, but again, more willpower drains. And the Warp Surge, all enemies cannot be stunned for the next 3 turns. Alright. My next immediate problem is that if I try to move Paladin Thule, that Plague Bearer is going to get a reaction attack off against him. So, bearing in mind these guys have a 50% chance to parry the first melee attack made against them, I can Smite, which is a ranged attack, and I think I'm going to do it on that Plague Priest because I've got plans for him. I've no idea what he's channeling, but I guarantee I won't like it. Now, one of Paladin Thule's other abilities is the Emperor's Will, which allows him to transfer 2 willpower to any other knight, and while he still has some willpower before he gets it all drained by these melee attacks, I'm going to transfer it to Intercept the Storm. You know what's coming here, don't you? Right. Yeah, Chaplain Storm can do the same thing. It's a very useful ability. Now the Chaplain is currently channeling the Invocation of Focus, which allows willpower recovery, or a chance of willpower recovery on certain attacks. But I'm going to swap that to the Refrain of Convergence, which is going to give everybody 20% resistance, and means that my knights will no longer trigger auto abilities like reaction attacks. Hopefully the bonus resistance is going to prevent them from constantly having their willpower drained every time they get hit or shot at. Speaking of getting shot at, I'm going to shoot this Plague Bearer, because it can't parry a bullet. Although technically I think Stormbolters actually fire 40mm high explosive shells. And of course Inquisitor Storm gets a reaction shot off as well. I know this guy has a 50% chance of parrying the first attack made against him, but it's a risk that I have to take, and it gets pulled off. So that's an extra willpower point back for Paladin Thule. Now then, Apothecary Hahn. Warp Speed Biomancy on Interceptor Storm. This is going to give him increased movement and bonus crit damage. That's only going to leave Apothecary Harm with 2 action points, and I don't think 2 action points are going to be enough to deal with this Plague Bearer. Especially since he has to reload his Storm Bolter, which means he's only going to get the 1 shot. Yeah. We'll reload. Honestly, I think the best thing to do with the Apothecary here is to just pop his Aegis Shield, because he's not going to kill that thing. And hopefully, the Refrain of Convergence means he will resist its willpower drains. Now then, intercept the Storm. I can hit the Plague-Ridden with the Teleport Strike. Again, I should probably have just spent the 1 willpower on the teleport. But he's got lots of bonus willpower, not lots of bonus action points. This isn't Honour the Chapter, the Justicar ability that gives bonus action and willpower, or the good news is he did recover the action point from the teleport. So I need to get as much damage as possible for the limited number of action points that I actually have available here. What I should have done is disable the Plague Priest's Vox Stave to interrupt whatever the hell it was he's channeling. Instead, I went for the stun, completely forgetting that all enemies are immune to stun for the next 3 turns. But I did at least get to kill it.
No match.
And I do have 2 action points remaining. I should maybe stack some damage on this Plague-Ridden, because it is really nasty. Charge that up with a Force Strike. And Intercept the Storm does crit like crazy, and I finally remember that I can't actually stun these guys. So instead, yeah. So whatever that thing was channeling, it can no longer do. Oh, this is not going to be enough to kill it. I only have the 1 action point left. I should probably get out of there, because that's a lot of enemies. So, again, I'm using the teleport, which I didn't use to get in there, to get him out of there. The question is, where can I put him that's going to be good? Because don't forget, for the Glorious Deed, I have to finish this mission before I take another 18 damage. And I'm still technically dealing with the first of the 3 Bloom Spawn. Anyway, the time bomb goes off, but I moved everybody away. What are these guys up to? Here comes the Plague-Ridden with his Cloud of Flies. He still gets to do his Stream of Corruption attack, but he can only hit Paladin Fool with it, and he does not resist. Fantastic. Apothecary Harn is going to suffer 2 hits from the Plague Bearer, but he had his Aegis Shield, so he suffers minimal actual damage from it, and then the Plague Bearer buffs itself, and is now also doing willpower drains on its melee attacks. The Plague Cultist outflanks Paladin Thule, shoots him, does little damage, and is also doing willpower drains on its ranged attacks. However, he does at least resist that affliction. The Grenadier at the back reloads his grenade launcher. Paladin Thule gets shot at again and loses more willpower and more health. That guy hunkers down, and on the Warp Surge, you're not going to believe this, all enemies gain +5 armor. Oh, fuck off, game. Well, this is going to be fun. Okay, I guess we're just going to have to deal with it as best we can. Remember, they can't be stunned. Disable its metal. No, they can't be stunned for 3 turns. I mean, it doesn't really matter, because Intercept the Storm is just going to kill it anyway. But I really need to start paying attention to the various different afflictions and conditions. Next up, Apothecary Harm. Let's purify Paladin Fool, get rid of that affliction. And also, you know, give him bonus resistances, because he certainly seems to need them. Where can I move him to where he'll be safe and still able to actually do something? You know what, we'll come back to that in a moment. The Chaplain. Now this looks like an easy Stormbolter shot, but I'm forgetting a couple of factors. First, Chaplain's Storm has been blinded, so he's doing -2 range damage, and that's a Plague-Ridden with a Cloud of Flies up. So he's taken a further -2 range damage, which basically means he's not taking any range damage, at least not from Chaplain's Storm. It's going to require melee hits, so that was a complete waste of some 40mm Stormbolter ammo, as well as a useful action point. I should, however, be able to finish him off with Paladin Fool. He's going to get 3 strikes. There's 1. There's 2. And the 3rd will kill him. Right. So, that leaves me with Apothecary Horn with 2 action points remaining. There are 3 enemies and they all have a shit ton of armour. So, is there really any point in shooting any of these guys with that much armour? There's no point whatsoever. Unfortunately, I was hoping that their armour would only last until the end of my turn. But it still held throughout their turn, and none of them moved into the Overwatch anyway because they're just gits. However, the armour held, so nobody actually took any damage from any of that. And thanks to the Refrain of Convergence and the various different buffs I've been stacking, pretty much everybody resisted those afflictions. Although I'm starting to think that it's just not possible to resist a willpower drain, because I don't think anybody ever has. Right, 3 of them left and they've lost all of their bonus armour. So, let's just finish these guys. Apothecary Horn, please introduce this arsehole to the business end of your magical medical spike, while also removing his Overwatch and his face. Oh, come on. Seriously? He's not dead? Alright, fine. Whatever. No Jingles, they're still immune to stuns. This is the final turn where all enemies are still immune to stuns, but again, it doesn't really matter. We're going to kill it anyway. Getting the execute off would have been nice there. Oh, this little bugger's hunkered down over here. And Paladin Fool does get a crit, which I immediately waste on trying to stun. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're about to kill this guy. Well, we're definitely going to kill this guy. Get the chaplain over there to clean up the kill. He's the one who needs the experience. And that just leaves Interceptor Storm, who's about as far away from the last remaining cultist as he possibly can be. I might have to use a teleport, because I have to finish this mission before I take 8 more damage in order to get that glorious deed. And I've still got 2 of the 3 Bloomspawn to go. I mean, that cultist is unlikely to actually hurt anybody, because he's standing right next to the Paladin. And the Paladin has more bonus armor than the cultist can do damage. So, we're probably good. Yeah, you're going to have to try harder than that, Sunshine. The Paladin Tool kills him on the reaction. Right. So that was good. So, what do you suppose the chances are I'm actually going to get to complete this glorious deed and finish this mission and deal with the other 2 Bloomspawn and the other patrols that are wandering around before the team take a further 8 damage? Well, you're just going to have to wait for the next episode. And on that bombshell, that is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're all having a great day. And as always, be pure, be vigilant, behave.